welcome in to the Pharmacist and the Photog Games, Grooves, and Grub. I am the Pharmacist, Dion Spencer, alongside the Photog, Steve Moss. And we're going to do the tale as old as time, and that's another Kentucky disappointment on the gridiron over the weekend. I mean, disappointing, but kind of what we expected.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected Kentucky to go down to Athens and get a win between the hedges, but I'm very reluctant, but will admit this team has no punch on offense, and I just can't see them. I'm trying to figure out where they're going to get a win.
It's not looking good.
I am resigned to the fact that they're probably going to beat Tennessee Tech, although
that's a good football team.
They're a pretty good football team for an OVC team. And I don't know where the points are going to come from. I really don't.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what Mark Stoops and his staff feel like to see this football team and to admit, like, we can't score, and B, our defense is becoming increasingly bad.
Yeah.
Every Saturday.
They gave up 425 yards, 180 of those on the ground.
Well, in Georgia was 8 for 12 on third downs, and Kentucky couldn't get off the field on third down.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Well, I mean, in Georgia, there weren't many guys in uniform on Saturday that didn't see the field. They had their second-string quarterback was playing, midway through the third quarter, I believe. That game, it was 35-14. Georgia could have beaten Kentucky 70-14 if they had wanted to. I feel like they called the dogs off and said, we're going to
run some clock and let's get out of here with a win.
Yeah, they were looking to keep people healthy, get some guys some reps against a somewhat legitimate football team, as opposed to just each other in practice. But yeah,
and then you have a bye week, which comes 2 weeks after the first bye week, which is very strange and odd. And I don't know how you handle that because, then you've got Texas coming in here next week, followed by Tennessee. And then you have to go to Auburn. I just don't see this team. It's pretty remarkable that this has played out the way it has. Maybe
we knew this schedule was going to be brutal. I mean, we knew that, but when, at least at that point, I think I still had at least a glimmer of hope that we might be able to win a few here and there, maybe one or two that we shouldn't. And we blew that chance, I think, against Ole Miss. We had a chance in that game and squandered it. Texas, even though Texas isn't the team, I think they're unranked. They're 3-2, unranked
for a
right
team
now.
That they started out the season ranked either 1 or 2, depending on which poll you looked at. They've fallen out of the top 25. Yeah. Arch Manning having very similar growing pains as like a Cutter Bowley would.
Right, and I saw some articles this week
with
about
15 times more pressure on him.
Yeah, I saw some articles this week talking about Steve Sarkisian being on the hot seat.
Well,
I don't know, but they take their football pretty seriously down in Texas, and unlike Kentucky, they've got the money to get rid of Steve Sarkisian if they want to.
Probably so.
Which that's the that's the bad thing for Kentucky, and that I'm not rooting for anybody to be fired, but we're at a point where you're just kind of like, are we going to just continue to put this terrible product on the field for the next few years just to ride out this contract?
I just don't know where they're going to get the money to do this unless Mark Stoops says, you know what, I'll do the honorable thing and I'll walk away from this. I built this to where I'm a victim of my own success, and I'll take deferred payments for the next 20 years or whatever. Yeah. But I just don't see that happening. They owe him $38 million, and they've got to pay it in 60 days.
Yeah.
That's the real kick in the nads.
That's a great contract there, Mitch.
Well, look, Kentucky fans are not like Alabama football fans. Kentucky football fans are not like Alabama fans. They're not like Tennessee fans. Kentucky fans are pretty reasonable. I think. They don't expect a guy to go out there and win an SEC championship every year,
Right,
like those fans do. I think Kentucky fans just want to see a 6 or 7 win season every year, and Stoops got them to that point. And now, I had a 15-minute conversation with one Vince Marrow last Friday night at a high school football game. It was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah.
If you believe what Vince is selling.
Interesting.
So, what does that mean for all this? Nothing other than I had a conversation with Vince, and he saw the writing on the wall, basically,
Yeah.
on 3 or 4 different levels.
Yes.
Is basically what he said. Does Mitch let Stoops come back with the promise that he's going to go get another offensive coordinator? I think Kentucky fans are sick and tired of the merry-go-round offensive coordinator office.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said here before,
I don't know what you do.
We've plugged in one offensive coordinator after another, and the common denominator seems to be the same guy. In that, I don't know. A lot of these guys go on and have success, or they have success before they get to Kentucky.
Well, I was about to say,
and then they have success after they leave Kentucky.
I was about to say, one Liam Coen. If you had to vote right now, he would be the coach of the year in the National Football League. Right. I would think. He's 4-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 4-1. They haven't been 4-1 in 15 years or whatever. And they completely had that game in control the other night against Kansas City, I thought.
Yeah.
But back to UK football, I just can't see them getting another win this year, except when they host Tennessee Tech, and now even that's off the table.
Yeah, and the only thing I look at it is, I was saying last year I felt like Kentucky needed to just go with Cutter Boley and have their growing pains, and that's where we are now. And if I try to take anything positive away from the Georgia game, I mean, he was 25 for 41. He threw for 225 yards, had a touchdown, a couple touchdown throws, one pick. I felt like he did a better job of getting rid of the ball in a little bit more timely fashion. He didn't seem to get completely flustered, on most of the plays. But, Georgia's defense completely shut down Kentucky's running game. We got 45 yards on the ground. So, the one aspect where we've been able to at least look somewhat promising, that was completely closed off. Then our, superstar kicker picks the Georgia game to miss his first field goal of the year. It was a chip shot.
Yeah,
for the most part, and he yanked it.
I mean, it's 3 points. I don't know
if that wouldn't have mattered.
What bearing it would have had on the final score, but yeah. I mean, the good news, if you want to find some good news, is that, like you said, I thought Cutter Boley was pretty solid.
Yeah,
he didn't blow anybody away with his performance, but I think you can see him taking small incremental steps, in becoming the kind of quarterback that they want him to become. And then you also have the emergence of a Cam Miller. I don't know that I ever heard of this guy.
No.
Targeted 3 times as a wide receiver, 3 catches. Mm-hmm. And then a guy by the name of C.J. Works on defense, I think another freshman, comes in and has a pretty good second half there and makes 3 tackles. So you're starting to see some guys step forward, and I know Stoops likes that, obviously, but man, the wide receiver room is still the biggest mystery to me. I don't understand why these guys can't get open. Maybe they really aren't as good as we thought they were.
Well, and then a lot of times when they get open, they don't catch the ball. I mean,
that has been an issue in the past. I know that, look, when you're playing in high school, Cutter Boley has all night to throw it.
Yeah.
When you get to the SEC, you've got a flash of a second window opportunity to throw through that and these guys are so good, man. The defensive backs in this league, those windows close quickly.
Right. Well,
that to me has been the biggest issue all year.
Right, and Cutter has to see that window a split second before it's there.
Yes,
he's got to be
anticipate.
throwing, and so that means he and his wide receivers have to be on the exact same page. And there's been a few times when it looks like we're not only not on the same page, we're not in the same chapter a couple of times with some of the routes, but hopefully we'll just continue to build. And I'm just resigned to the inevitable. We're gonna lose just about every game left, and we're gonna come back next season with Coach Stoops, which we've talked about this before. I'm fine with him. He deserves the chance to turn it around and fix it, but when it's just the same thing, when it's the clock management issues.
The clock management issues is a big disappointing part of it for me, because he's been here 13 years. Okay, I can expect it the first couple of years because you've never been a head coach. Although, you're from a football family, you should know.
Right.
You've got to have somebody on that sideline reminding you, okay, here's the down and distance and the time situation. We've got to be, aware of what's going on the clock. But 13 years later, I don't understand that.
Yeah, we can.
The pre-snap stuff is starting to come back a little bit. I thought that that was a point of emphasis for these guys this year, and they, for the most part, have done a good job. The silly penalties, you're starting to see more and more, and I think it's probably just frustration of the season now wearing on these guys. And as far as the fans concerned, the apathy is starting to set in, and that really is a coach killer.
Yeah.
That's the coach killing part of this whole thing, is just the apathy of the fans. And, wouldn't you know it, that the second bye week comes at this point where there is Midnight Madness, media day for basketball. It's
Keeneland.
Just, yeah.
I mean, there's so many other things to do in Lexington right
mm-hmm.
now. And, it's kind of like once people kind of fall off the wagon, they're
going to fall off completely.
And especially, they're not going to come clamoring back to watch us, lose to Texas and then lose to Tennessee. And I don't know.
Well, the good news, did you know this? There are 49, beginning tonight, we're taping on Wednesday night. There are 49 consecutive nights of football on TV.
Gosh, man, that's glorious, isn't it?
I mean some of these games are not great.
But still, it's football.
If you love football, there's 49 consecutive nights of televised football.
That's pretty
either
impressive.
College football or the NFL.
That's fantastic.
It's pretty crazy.
That's a idea I can get behind for sure. And this weekend Kentucky's off, but there's a couple games I'm going to have my eye on. Number 3 Oregon is at home against number 7 Indiana, which I don't know that I'm 100% sold on Indiana, just because I know they had a good season last year, but ultimately when you look at their schedule, they don't have a whole lot of marquee games, and this is one of them. So it's time for them. They can put up or shut up.
If memory serves, their quarterback, Indiana's quarterback, who has now become I think the favorite during this week, the favorite to win the Heisman, I think he's an Oregon transfer.
Ooh, I didn't realize that.
I think
that's one of those things where
I could be totally wrong, but I believe I saw where he is a transfer from Oregon.
Yeah, I feel like us living in Kentucky, we just don't watch Oregon play football because
you can't.
It's too late. Same thing with with all the NBA teams that play out on the West Coast. You almost never see them play because they start too late. Another good game this weekend I'm interested in is number 8 Bama travels to number 14 Missouri. That one's got the potential to be a really good game. So there's some good football on this weekend for sure. Louisville is also on a bye week this week. I'm kind of excited because the following week they get to travel down to number 2 Miami, and I think that's where we're going to find out what kind of football team Louisville has. I mean, they lost. Was it last week they lost to?
Yeah, they lost at home
to
Virginia at home.
Yeah, so
at the Big Slice.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they could go to Miami and just absolutely get clocked. Because Miami's just that good, and that's not going to hurt my feelings if that happens. So we'll see.
I'll definitely be picking Miami in that one.
Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see what the spread will be on that one. There's no telling. Miami is a good football team, that's for sure. I think that's all we got on football.
Unless you want to talk NFL.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the fact that the Chiefs, lost to the Jaguars the other night, and that makes them 2-3 on the season, and people are freaking out. I mean, what are they going to do if Taylor Swift doesn't go to the Super Bowl? I mean,
yeah. Look, I'm a huge Andy Reid fan. I think that guy is the best coach in football right now. But it's like the oversaturation of the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, and then you throw Taylor Swift in the mix, and it's like, come on, please, can I not get away?
Yeah.
I see now why football fans hate the Cowboys, because, America's team, that whole moniker, and they were always on prime time, or, they had the prime time slot every Sunday, and now it's the Chiefs, and it's like, I am so sick of that,
Well, watching that game the other night, the Jaguars gave the ball back to the Chiefs with, just right at 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
A little over 2 minutes maybe. And I thought, that's too much time. Yeah. Mahomes is going to score. And sure enough,
he's been good at that.
He marches it right down the field. They score. And I remember sitting here on the couch thinking, okay, the Jags are going to get the ball back with, it was like 1:20 or something like that. And I thought, is Trevor, is he the guy? Is he the dude? Can he do the same thing? And immediately hits a nice out for probably 30 or 40 yards. Yeah. And they hit several nice passes where the guys were able to get out of bounds quickly. But that last play, man, I mean, dude fell down twice.
Well, did you go back and see the replay where I think it was the guard, right guard stepped on his foot? So he goes down, then he gets up and goes down again.
The second fall was of his own accord, for sure. But the fact that, you fall down twice in the NFL with the speed of the defenders, the fact that you can fall down once and not get just absolutely crushed, but to go down twice and then still get up and run it in, 7-8 yards or whatever he did for the winning score, that was pretty impressive.
And now Liam Coen is the toast of Florida.
Yeah. I mean, he needed to have this to put that horrible opening press conference away when he came out there, and I can't remember what kind of goofy yell he had at that opening introductory.
Stuff?
Yeah.
That's
a moment.
That a neighborhood there?
I think so. I think that's a moment he'd like to have back. Yeah. He'd like a do-over on that, but
Everybody
at least I think
about Duval.
Yeah, they've forgiven him at this point.
Do you remember when Liam Coen had the medical situation at UK?
Vaguely.
You remember that? He missed a couple of games. It was I think it was a heart issue.
Yeah.
I think they did tell us that. I found out later that at one point I think he flatlined.
Ooh,
and
wow.
they brought him back. And then do you remember that he went up in the booth for a couple of weeks? I found out from a source that the reason he went up, he requested to go up in the booth, number one, because he knew there were medical personnel in the press box that could get to him quicker than if they were on the sideline.
Wow.
But the other thing was his dream of being an NFL head coach would literally, I hate to use the word die, but if something were to happen to him on the sideline and the entire world saw it happen on the sideline, there wouldn't be an NFL team that would want to take a chance on him. So he wisely went upstairs in the booth in case something did reoccur and they could get to him a little quicker,
and the cameras
he would
wouldn't
be out
on him.
of sight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not know
his
that.
dream was always to coach in the NFL and be a head coach, and now the guy is tearing it up in his first season.
Yeah, it's fun to watch for sure.
And I never thought that Trevor Lawrence was an elite quarterback.
No,
but
maybe he's just not had the right pieces around him and the right leadership. So who knows? He could step up. When I look at stat lines across the NFL every week, there aren't very many guys that I think are elite. There are a bunch of really good, serviceable guys who manage their playbook. They take advantage of the guys they're playing with, but there aren't. It feels like
Mahomes, Allen. That's really about it, right? Is there anybody else
that you can count
Dak?
on?
Is Dak an elite quarterback?
I don't know. I mean,
You've got some youngsters who have been in the league 1 or 2 years that are probably going to be.
yeah. It's I don't know. I mean, it just feels like, when you go back to I hate to be like the old man, but you think about, it just seems like there aren't many guys anymore that throw for 350, 400.
Yeah, I think the league has evolved a little bit there.
Yeah. So, I mean, because it was nothing to watch Brett Favre or, Troy Aikman or somebody throw for just
Go
ridiculous
back and sling
numbers.
it.
Yeah. I mean, that just that just rarely happens anymore. So, sometimes it's kind of fun to see those fireworks going and guys just winging it all over the field and getting it up and down. So, I don't know. It'll be fun to watch, see what happens with the Chiefs if they can get it dialed in.
Well, they get to host Detroit this week, so
it's not going to get any easier.
No, they're 2.5-point favorites at Arrowhead. So
interesting.
That'll be a heck of a game. Yep. I do like Dan Campbell and the way he coaches his team.
Yeah,
toughness. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't necessarily have. I mean, being where we are, I've always kind of rooted for the Bengals, but I don't have a team that I am just tied to. I have relatives that lived in the Detroit area, and I can remember as a kid getting to go to the old Pontiac Silverdome and thinking that was the biggest building I had ever seen in my life, which it may have been at the time, but just thinking that was pretty cool. So, I mean, I do have a soft spot for Detroit. Plus, they just sucked for so many years.
Forever. I thought they were going to win a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, the fact that they finally have put it together and have the right people in place, that's pretty awesome. So,
yeah, I agree. It's good for football.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, shifting gears. One of those things that'll take our mind off of UK football is UK basketball, and it's getting fired up. We had Media Day the other day.
We had Media Day on.
Go to that one, or
I did. Yeah. Even though I'm off on Mondays, it's all hands on deck when it comes to Media Day, whether it be football or basketball. But yeah, I was very impressed with. Of course, these guys are sitting behind a table, and we're standing in front of the table with microphones and cameras. But I was very impressed with these guys. This is a very well-spoken group. They're all.
And they're pretty young. I mean, for the most part, there's a lot of younger guys. I mean, we do have a lot of transfers, but
6 transfers?
Yeah.
6 transfers, and none of them, I don't believe, have ever been exposed to this kind of a media coverage.
Right.
So that's going to be new for them to just constantly have cameras and mics in their faces. But I was very impressed. And what we do is there's 4 of us, 2 and 2, and they have them, if you can imagine the practice gym, they have them around the edges of the floor. So we all start at the middle, and we work our way around backwards towards each other. But we talked to maybe like 6, and I was very impressed with Yelovich.
Yeah.
Yelovich. Still don't know yet if that's official or not. And he admitted, like, first couple of weeks here he struggled.
Yeah.
He said that it took some getting used to, and now he's kind of finding a rhythm. And if you watched the pro day last night, and I had to go back and watch it today because I missed it last night. He made some shots. He's a stretch 4. He's going to be your typical European big who likes to step out and shoot. Ortega was good. Ortega Owe said that he is practicing, although he didn't go in pro day last night, but that he would be full go starting next week. I've talked to Jasper and Malachi a couple times this week. Like both of those guys, they're the young guys, the freshmen from this area. Malachi Marino is from Georgetown, where we do this. Jasper is Dennis Johnson's son. If you remember Dennis Johnson, the defensive end that was an All-American and I think a 7th round draft pick of the Arizona Cardinals, played at UK. His son. Trying to remember who else we talked to. Denzel Aberdeen was a great interview. Talked about playing at Florida, winning a national championship, and then coming here, and it's just, he said the vibe is totally different here. It's basketball.
Right.
Down there, it's all about the football. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. The one takeaway from the Mark Pope part of all this, when we were allowed to ask him questions, was that he said that they're all about chasing growth. They're not chasing expectations. They're chasing growth, not expectations. And basically, you know, he's like, even though we can have a bad day today, we'll come back tomorrow and have a better day, and you're growing. You just continue to grow, and then the other stuff will take care of itself.
And I think he talked a little bit as well about the fact that how different this year's team is from last year's, in that even though you had a group of guys last year that had never played together, you had 6 guys who were super seniors who had years of experience. And they don't have that this year. They've got a couple of guys with experience like Aberdeen and to an extent Diabate. They've played, and Yelovich, even though he's been playing pro ball, he's been playing pro ball in Europe against grown men. So, you know, that kind of thing. But I do see what he's talking about in having the true leadership and experience that he had last year. So they're going to really look to, I think, Ortega. They're going to expect Denzel Aberdeen and probably to a certain extent Jalen Lowe to be able to provide some of that. But he also talked about the fact that how competitive these guys appear to be in practice, and the fact that, you know, like Aberdeen and Lowe are best of friends off the court but go at each other's throat on the court. And same thing with, you know, Chandler, super nice kid, but has taken his aggressiveness to a completely different level.
He's a guy I think people will see take a big jump, because I think he even admitted, you know, after you try to come back from a 2-year Mormon mission, it's very hard.
Yeah.
You know, because even though you've picked up a basketball and you shot baskets, that's not what you're doing. You're not practicing it every day. Now he's kind of got his sea legs under him, if you will, and he's got his wind, and he's in shape, and Pope even singled him out as one of those guys, like in practice, along with Diabate and Aberdeen. Those 3 guys are really the dogs, he said, in practice. And he said that Aberdeen has made a huge jump from the numbers he put up at Florida in what he's done so far in practice. And Kentucky fans will know that Mark Pope is all about the analytics and the numbers. They all mean something to him, and they're all relative to something. So they're constantly measuring these guys, and he talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, he mentioned too that this team seems to be more mobile, a little faster, and probably a little stronger overall. So hopefully we don't get pushed around like we did last season.
This team is more of a downhill team. Yeah. The group of guys that he has on this roster, they're more downhill than last year's team, where you had an Amari Williams who was really, really good in the high post, especially hitting those guys as they were diving and cutting to the baseline, to the bucket. And you know, that'll be something for fans to watch for. Who takes that role?
Right.
You know, who's the big guy who can pass out of the post? So the dynamic of this team is probably totally different from last year. Probably not as many good shooters on this team as there were last year, although there's a lot of good shooters on this team.
Right. I think they said during Pro Day last night there was a stretch where different guys hit like 10 or 11 in a row, something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, it's a practice shoot around, but still, you know, you want to see a lot of different guys with the ability to, you know, shoot from 3, because that just opens things up for your big men. They said Malachi's been in the weight room quite a bit, looks stronger.
Yeah, we talked to Malachi and Jasper last week together for a show we're doing, a preseason special, and Malachi talked about how he is pounding the calories right now.
Yeah,
like I think Jasper said he eats all day.
Yeah.
So he's definitely trying to change his body, and from what I saw, compared to, you know, his senior year at Great Crossing, he's
I think
added
he looks
some
bigger.
weight.
Yeah, I think he looks bigger. The shots I've seen of him, the shots I've seen of him, he looks. And the thing is, you know, practicing every day against, Brandon Garrison, and then eventually Quaintance, and those big physical dudes, Diabate. That's going to be good for him. I mean, he's gonna have to get stronger if he wants to see the floor. So, I think, I love the line that Coach Pope used. He said, we've got a Ferrari and we're ready to take it out for a drive,
for a spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to hear a coach, be excited about. He knows he's got some talent, but I think he is also smart enough to realize he has to adapt his styles and philosophies and things like that to fit that talent and
fit the pieces.
Yeah, and he also goes out and gets talent to fit, the styles that he wants to play to an extent. So, we'll see what happens. Of course, the Cats are still hot and heavy on the recruiting trail, trying to get the number one recruit in the country in Tyron Stokes.
You saw that there was a crystal ball for Kentucky.
Yeah. And the kid signed a Nike deal.
Yeah, and 2 of the 3 schools that Stokes listed were Adidas schools.
Right.
So
I mean,
Louisville and Kansas.
Yeah. So in Kansas, they just score their kid.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty good about Kentucky getting Stokes. Hopefully that'll be the case, and that'll kind of put to rest the chatter out there. Is like, Pope has brought in some good players, but he hasn't brought in the elite of the high school recruits.
Well, Kentucky also has a pretty deep pocketbook.
Yeah. So that'll help.
Got to.
So, on the same, I guess, sort of the same sphere of Kentucky basketball, former coach Billy Gillispie got himself into a little bit of trouble last week at Tarleton State, which is part of the Texas A&M program, which I didn't realize that, but it is somehow under the umbrella of Texas A&M.
Well, as long as it's not Texas Tech, because he got in trouble there too.
Right. So I did read today he got reinstated.
I did see that today as well. They did a brief investigation of it. This comes on the heels, obviously, of the Texas Tech thing, where he was in the middle of an investigation, and depending on who you listen to, Texas Tech was close to maybe finding something, and Billy Clyde decided, I'm out.
Yeah.
And he resigned due to health reasons.
Yeah.
I will tell you, his second season at Kentucky, he came to our management when we still had when KYT still had the contract to do the coaches shows and stuff. He came to our management and said he would like to do a Hard Knocks kind of show, and so we shot, probably myself and a couple other guys, probably the first 16 or 17 practices.
Wow.
I mean, I was over there from sun up to sundown. And I will tell you, the guy coaches them very hard.
Yeah.
Almost to the point like you're going, dude, what are we doing here? I mean, that's almost cruel.
Yeah.
All the rumors about him making guys run, like day of game, having 2-hour practices, and on top of that, making them run the stairs at Rupp Arena, absolutely true. I saw it all with my own eyes. There was one drill, and I don't mind telling this, but Kentucky had a big man by the name of Matt Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a drill where you worked the ball around to the wing, and the wing made an entry pass into the post, and then the post, the drill was the post turns and makes a shot. Well, Darius Miller was a freshman, and Darius starts on the baseline, and the ball's coming around the horn to Darius on the wing, and Darius makes an entry pass, and it bounces off Matt Pilgrim's shin, and Billy G stops practice, blows a whistle, says a few, not so nice words, demands the rack of balls that were over on the far side of the gym. A manager pushes them over to him. Darius, get in the paint. And Billy Clyde, he proceeds for the next minute to just fire basketballs at Darius. And they were short hopping him in the legs and hitting him in the shoulders. And, Darius was trying to fend off basketballs. That's the kind of practices I saw.
Yeah. I mean,
I honestly believe that Billy Gillispie, in some regard, fancies himself as a Bob Knight kind of
That's exactly where I was going. And
coach.
The thing is, the Bob Knight model
and
doesn't fit anymore.
It doesn't. It doesn't, obviously. And I should say, Billy Gillispie is a good basketball coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's great. You know, he had that run at Texas A&M where they came into Rupp. This is how he got the job at Kentucky.
Yeah.
They came into Rupp Arena, and I think they beat Louisville.
Yeah, in the tournament.
And, you know, the next thing you know, he's the coach of Kentucky. He had a player by the name of A.C. Law, and he was an All-American and rode the coattails of him and got a couple wins in the NCAA tournament. But I did see with my own eyes, I think the guy coaches a little too hard.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But
there's a level of reasonable, and then there's a level of that's unreasonable.
Yeah, and there's been no like real explanation over the last week about what this was.
Well, it was an anonymous complaint.
Yeah, so that tells me one of the players. One of his players
or his parents tried to turn him in.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway.
It isn't going to play well in 2025.
No, it's just these kids, I mean.
Especially now that they're getting paid.
Right.
I'm not putting up with that crap.
Right. That's not going to work. That's not going to work for these guys. You know, they make $1.25 at Tarleton
they might
State.
at Tarleton.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think they're making a whole lot there. But anyway.
Get a McDonald's gift certificate.
One guy that we were hoping would be making a little bit more as the season has progressed is our buddy Josh Teater.
Yeah.
He's started play in the Korn Ferry Tour Championship. Does that start yesterday or does it start today?
It started either today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's at French Lick.
Yeah, we
P-Dye course.
We were hoping that he won that tournament early in the season, and he had a few one or two top tens not too far after that, and we were like, all right, well I guess not to our credit, we were thinking the top 30 got into the PGA Tour, and I think they've changed that, and I think that got changed when they changed those premier events and things in the PGA. There's something weird about how many people they allow in.
I got you.
Each year. They do the top so many on the money list of the PGA Tour keeps their card, and then you got so many guys go through Q School. And then you got so many guys on the Korn Ferry Tour. And unfortunately, I believe the Korn Ferry guys were the ones who took the brunt of the deductions.
Well, I thought it was top 25.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Anyway, Josh
he's 26.
Yeah.
He's currently at 26 on the money list.
Yeah.
And he'd have to win this thing to get in it, to get his card, his tour card. And, it's just it's disappointing because he is a friend, and when they come play the event here in Louisville now, he's always the biggest draw. The biggest crowds are always following Josh. So
I was really hoping to see him, get his tour card back and have one more crack at it, in his mid to late 40s, and be able to
pushing 50.
Yeah. So hopefully he can continue to work it around a little bit and then maybe have a go at it on the Champions Tour. I think he'll probably play golf on the Champions Tour.
I would hope so, but you don't want him for the next 3 or 4 years still playing on that on the Korn Ferry. But he's made a good living at it.
Yeah.
It's just the grind of it all because he's an independent contractor, and you've got to schedule your own travel. You've got to pay for your own hotels. It's not glitzy and glamorous like the PGA Tour is.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Josh's overall career earnings, you see a figure that's several $1 million, and you think, oh yeah, this guy's done well for himself. When you look at what it costs to play golf every year, no,
he's not on a private jet jetting about.
They struggle. These guys struggle. That's for sure.
But he's a good person, and that's all that matters.
Good dude. Yep, good dude for sure. Anyway, all right. I did go to not a musical show this week, but Sunday night I did go over to Louisville to see comedian Nate Bargatze, who is arguably the hottest comedian on the planet right now. I read somewhere that he's the number one draw as far as ticket sales, live comedians in the country. He's fresh off hosting the Emmys. which is a thankless job, trying to please everybody, which he didn't. A lot of people didn't care for it. He didn't do what a lot of those award show hosts do, which is make fun of a lot of the stars that are sitting out in the seats. He's just
it wasn't a roast, though.
Yeah, he's like, that's not my thing. He's like, I just don't do that. But anyway, he rolled into the Yum Center in Louisville, where the Louisville Cardinals play basketball, and they listed it as a sellout. He had about 19,000 people there, which is
amazing.
Which is a record. It is a record for a comedy show at the Yum Center. They did say that. And it was pretty cool. It was different than any. I've been to a couple of big arena comedians before. This was the first time. He has a guy. I think his name was Julian McCullough, who is the host, like MC, and he came out and did 15 or 20 minutes at the beginning, because apparently the show was supposed to start at 7, and Louisville traffic, which is always
Nate
bad.
didn't make it to arena?
No, Nate was there, but they knew they had an arena full of people, and less than half of them were there. So they actually did not bring out the first opener until 7:30. But
so this dude had to sing and dance and kill time.
He vamped, and he's good because he actually worked the crowd a little bit, the people in the front rows, and he had some stuff about that. But he came out in between. There were 3 comedians that were openers. They all did anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And Julian would then come out in between each one, tell a few more jokes, and keep the show kind of moving. The guys that are out there with them, Julian McCullough included, are all longtime friends of Nate Bargatze. So that was like clue number 1. If you didn't already know, he's a super nice guy. But the fact that he has taken these comedians that struggled along with him 20, 25 years ago in New York City trying to make it, and now that he's made it,
he's bringing them
put
along.
Those guys on his tour, and I'm sure they're making a pretty solid living getting to go to all these cities. So there were 3 guys that did, opening bits. But then the fun part was the last guy who came out was actually Nate Bargatze's dad, Stephen Bargatze, who's also a comedian, magician.
Oh, okay.
So he brought some people up on stage out of the audience, some kids, and did some tricks with them. But and that's when I found out. Even though I've been a Bargatze fan for a couple of years now, I did not know his ties to the city of Louisville. And his dad, Stephen, grew up in Louisville. He went to high school in Louisville, and then before he moved to Nashville. So
Nate wasn't born there, was he?
I don't think so.
Okay, I saw that somebody was born there.
Well, he may have been. I know that Stephen Bargatze, his dad, said that he ran away from his family basically to Louisville and ended up there. But pretty cool story. So Nate has a lot of familiarity with the city of Louisville. I mean, his opening joke was that, he knew that he knew a lot about Louisville, and as a kid, he just remembered hoping that someday he could grow up to be more famous than Gene Snyder. And if you don't know, if you're not from around here, which probably most people aren't, there's a road in Louisville that's like circles a good portion of the city, called the Gene Snyder Freeway, and I don't know who Gene Snyder is, but
either.
Yeah, I thought that was just kind of funny that he said he hoped to someday be more famous than Gene
He should have said,
Snyder.
I hope to be more famous than Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
because he is the favorite son of Louisville.
yeah, and he, it takes a lot to be that transcendent for sure. But
Sure.
But anyway, it was a good time.
That's cool.
To go to a show. I mean, I see a lot of comedians, and obviously his show is one of the cleanest. I mean, ultra clean. There was not the first off color or remark or anything made by any of the comedians in that lineup, which is kind of a rarity these days. Let's face it. But Bargatze's stuff. I mean, most people are familiar with the skits he's done on Saturday Night Live. The George Washington skit, I think, is a classic. That's really good. But he just has that dried, the I'm not very smart and here's what I've dealt with today kind of delivery, and it works. I mean, obviously he's making a fortune right now, that's for sure, and doing a good job. But one concert that you said you didn't think you would try to partake, but we found out this week that Rush is going back on tour after 11 years.
What are they calling it? The 50-something tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, after Neil Peart died, I thought, well,
That's it.
that's, he was as much Rush as anybody. But then you find out that they've been playing with a woman from Germany.
Annika Neelis.
Yeah. Who came to them. Geddy Lee, the frontman for Rush, his bass tech said, "Hey, you ought to take a look at this girl." And they invited her to fly to Canada, and they, quote unquote, played some experimental stuff, and they liked her well enough that they went to Neil Peart's wife, his widow, and their daughter, and got the seal of approval, and they're going to hit the road.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll be the first to admit I don't know anything about this lady.
I pulled up some YouTube stuff, and I think I sent you a couple of clips.
Yeah.
She's pretty acclaimed in Europe.
Yeah.
She's got lightning quick hands, and I like some of the stuff I've heard. Neil Peart was more of a percussionist than a drummer, and I love what he did. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how they're received.
I mean, I feel like
fans.
they almost have to take it. Not that they're going to like totally rework the Rush classics for sure, but I mean, let's face it, nobody's going to sit in that kit and replicate what Neil did. That's just not going to happen. So I kind of applaud them for going a completely unexpected direction by selecting a woman, which, if you looked at social media over the last
Takes
few
some
days,
guts to do that.
I mean, ironically, the phrase "get your panties in a twist." Well, there's a lot of guys out there got their panties in a twist this week about a woman being chosen to be with Rush. But she lists Prince as one of her influences, so she scored some points from me there.
I liken it to what the Foo Fighters went through when they lost their drummer.
Yeah. And they just recently changed again.
It's some of these dudes are so good, that it's hard to live up to the expectations. But Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee are in their twilight years. I think I said to you, I think some of these guys, they fall in love with the nostalgia of being out on the road and playing them. Once it gets in your blood and you can't get it out, it's like professional athletes who don't know when it's time to walk away.
Right.
But I think there's probably been enough time now between Neil Peart's death and the last time Rush played, as Rush.
Yeah, 5 years since he died, 11 years since they were on tour. So
That I think fans probably are going to want to see these guys again one last time.
Yeah, and I think it seems like they're kind of doing it the right way. I mean, based on what I was reading, it's only about 10 cities.
Right.
The big cities: L.A., Chicago, New York, Toronto, Cleveland. I think Mexico City's on there, and then a few others. But that's. I've got a feeling they will kind of feel it out and see how it goes, and then I would imagine that if it's successful and the reviews are good and Geddy Lee's voice is,
she's a rock drummer. She toured with Jeff Beck, so I think that part is going to be okay. I think she's going to be okay there. It's all the little intricate stuff that he does or did. Like I said, I think he's more of a percussionist than he is a drummer, a rock drummer. But a lot of people like to say that he's probably the second greatest drummer we ever saw.
Yeah, I mean, and like I told you, as a kid, I mean, when I was, middle school and high school, listening to Zeppelin, I didn't like Rush.
I didn't like Led Zeppelin either.
Yeah, right. I didn't
Until I
like
got into
Rush
college.
because I didn't like Geddy Lee's voice. Still don't care for Geddy Lee's voice, but I
unique.
can certainly appreciate now the musicianship and the intricacies of what they're doing and just how good it sounds
for a trio.
Yeah.
For a 3-piece rock band, they're pretty damn good.
Yeah. There aren't too many of those bands out there that have done it and done it on that scale for sure, as a 3-man band. But
I don't know if they were coming to Lexington, I might go.
Cincinnati,
I might go, but
I'd go to Cincinnati. See
I'm a Neil Peart fan, so it's not that I'm boycotting. It's just that I know she can't live up to my expectations.
And you saw them.
I've seen them 3 times.
Right.
I've seen them 3 times, and they're really good.
Yeah.
They're
So
really good.
and I can certainly respect that, knowing that you've got you've got Rush, how you picture them, how you saw them those times, and you don't want to.
It's like Kiss without Ace or Peter,
Right. It's just different,
for
sure.
Or or like Led Zeppelin without Gonzo.
Yeah, it's like when they let those other 2 dudes drive the General Lee on the Dukes of Hazzard when those 2 cousins showed up for that one random season. It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Anyway, hopefully that won't be like this.
No, I think Geddy and Alex have handled it about as well as can be.
Yeah, I think
expected.
So, for sure, sure. Anyway, I'm trying to think. I don't have any concerts lined up like in the immediate future. I've got a couple of shows. They'll get here pretty quick though. I mean, I've got my Herbie Hancock show coming up in November, which I'm super excited about. Looking forward to that. But on a musical standpoint, or like vinyl anyway, I'm going to be selling records this weekend at the Country Boy Fall Bazaar that they do every year, which has grown over the last, I don't know how many years they've been doing it now.
This Country Boy in Georgetown?
Yeah, Country Boy in Georgetown. I think they said there's going to be over 60 vendors. And 59 of those vendors are going to be actual artists and that kind of thing, with actual handmade products or goods and services and that kind of thing. There's going to be one guy out there selling records, and that's me. I don't know why Mason wanted me to come out and do it, but I'm more than willing to go out there and hang out. It'll be a good time, but it is really fun. We always go out there and shop every year, and we end up buying a bunch of Christmas presents and things like that, because there's some really unique artwork will show up at this thing, and it's very well attended. They've learned how to set it up and put it on, so now we just have to hope that there's good weather is what we got to be excited for. So
I don't think there's any rain in the forecast.
yeah.
They couldn't.
We got all the rain yesterday here.
Record amounts.
5 inches or 5 or 6 inches in Georgetown yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was after having no rain for the last 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We got all the rain in one day. But yeah, that'll be par for the course, I guess, is we'll not have any more rain for a while. But before we went to our show on Sunday, we went to have dinner in Louisville. I tasked my wife on the drive over. I said, hey, find us someplace that we can walk to the Yum Center, and because it was nice out. And she found a place and read off some of the things on the menu, and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. We get parked, and we start walking towards it, and we realize we're getting close, and that's when it hit me that this place was the hotel restaurant at the Marriott downtown Louisville. And typically, I don't know about you, but I just, when I'm on vacation or if I'm traveling, I don't ever eat at the hotel restaurant.
Not unless it's
it's got to be a classic place,
a late night, yeah.
Or unless you're like in Louisville, people stay at the Sealbach or the Brown, and those restaurants are acclaimed, sure. Right. But usually the Marriott restaurant is not going to be one that you're thinking is going to be.
It's got to be late night room service.
So anyway, we went, and I mean the place looked pretty busy. So I thought, well, it must be all right. It's called Proof Kitchen and Bar, or not Proof. I'm sorry, the Porch Kitchen and Bar, and we just looked over the menu and found a few different things we wanted to kind of share. We did some of the best Brussels sprouts. We're both big Brussels sprouts fans. I love them. But they had a apple caramel bacon with smoked almonds and crushed red pepper. We'll put up a picture of those.
I might actually try those.
Yeah, they're amazing, and they had a little kick to them, a little spicy. We got the wedge salad that had a giant slab of thick cut bacon draped over top of it. You see that here in the picture, thick cut bacon and gorgonzola cheese, really good. And then we split some fried chicken, and fried chicken was phenomenal. So yeah, I would definitely go back to that place and eat again. It was worth it. Very good. The Porch Kitchen and Bar in Louisville. And the cool thing about it was the actual restaurant was pretty much full. They told us it was going to be 35, 45 minutes. But they said you can go into the hotel bar and sit at the bar, and they will serve the same menu at the bar. They had a bar in the restaurant, but then they also had the hotel bar that was like off the lobby. So we went over there and sat and got served over there. So, yeah, that was a pretty good way to do it. And it was 2 blocks from the Yum Center. There's so much good food in Louisville.
Yeah,
that you can find a lot of fun places. But the interesting thing was, Sunday night, downtown Louisville, a lot of those places were closed. If they're going to close one day a week, Sunday is probably the day they're going to do it. And so finding something that was open was a little tricky, at least something as far as what we wanted to eat. Only other food I did this week is I had a night. I was kind of a bachelor last Friday night, and I hit one of my favorites, which is Smithtown Seafood in Lexington at West 6th. Did the fish and chips again, which, I didn't bother with a picture. I've done that here before, but it's just one of my favorites for sure. I don't know about you.
I didn't do any food this week.
Oh, man. Mm-mm. How do you survive? If you don't
I manage, but
you eat, but
yeah,
nothing fun. Well, I purposely didn't. I usually have my beer sitting up here, and I didn't set it up here because one, I wanted Steve's to stay cold because this is beer best served cold, ice cold. A little surprise, but kind of funny. So I'll pull it out here and get it out. But it's this came out just in the last week or so, and it's a classic. It's the good old,
oh my gosh,
Pabst Blue Ribbon
PBR.
But the fun part about this is it's Godzilla. That's the artist, Attack Peter.
Okay.
Pabst Blue Ribbon has released this special series of beers or can art to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Godzilla movies, the classic Japanese Godzilla movies. And so I had seen these posted online over the last week or so, and I thought, if I come across those, I'm gonna get some. And because the cool thing is, the 12-ounce cans, have Godzilla. That's the original, artwork. PBRs, even though I'm a huge craft beer fan, a lot of people can't believe that I drink Pabst Blue Ribbon. If I go to concerts and things like that, a lot of times PBR is the most affordable choice you can get. And the other thing too is they make these big 25-ounce cans. Damn. So they make these big tall boys, and the 12-ounce cans all have Godzilla. The 25-ounce single-serve cans feature the other 3 big monsters from that era and genre of movies. They do
King Kong.
This is all the Japanese stuff. So this is Mothra. Okay. They have Mothra that debuted in 1961 in the Godzilla series. King Ghidorah, which is the 3-headed dragon, debuted in 1964. And then Mecha Godzilla, which was the robot Godzilla that debuted in 1974, who was out there to try to destroy Godzilla. But,
wow,
it's been forever since I've watched any of those Japanese Godzilla movies. But I just remember even as a kid, they were so bad. The special effects were so bad with them crushing these little models, miniature sets. Yeah. But it's, it's kind of funny now to go back and see this and I don't know. I thought that was kind of
like watching Star Wars. Star Wars, if you go back and watch it now, it's so bad.
Yeah. I feel like Star Wars held up better than a lot of.
Not a fan, so I would disagree with you. But anyway, That's funny.
But anyway, I think this PBR was kind of crazy how it just came out of left field. I had no idea they were going to do this, and I'm not sure. I didn't dig a whole lot to try to find out the rhyme or reason behind it. I mean, I think it's kind of genius marketing on their part to just because I've seen so many people on social media over the last week clamoring for where can I find these cans. So I know that if you want the Godzilla 12 ounces right here, you can get a 30 rack at Walmart for $23. So less than $1 a beer.
It still lives up to its name.
Yeah, you can't beat
PBR.
it. And I don't mind it. It's I think every beer has its place. That's for sure. But anyway,
that's funny.
If we've got anything else for tonight? We'll keep an eye on.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Cats. I'm sure they're going to be primed and ready to go against Texas in 2 weeks. So we'll see what happens. But anyway,
yeah, I'm not too confident. I think it's going to be cool, though, that Kentucky fans actually get to see Texas come to Lexington.
Yeah.
And then you've got Keeneland running, so there's probably going to be a lot of burnt orange in the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And then the same the following weekend when Tennessee comes into town.
Yeah, that really,
unfortunately,
really
I
bad
think
orange.
the apathy is going to be hot and heavy, and Kentucky fans are going to be selling those tickets.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll have any luck selling. Well, they'll sell them to the other team for sure. Yeah, you can't. It's going to be difficult to sell.
A lot of orange
anybody
those
else
2 weeks
for sure. And people like to travel to come up for Keeneland. That's a special time in Lexington. If you've never been,
that's a good double
to Central Kentucky. There's a reason that Hollywood comes to Keeneland when they need to film some horse racing scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I've not been to a ton of different tracks, but I
watched to go Saturday.
I watch the Breeders' Cup every year when they move it around to different tracks, and there's some nice tracks out there. There's nothing like Keeneland. It's a special place. So yeah, I go out there. I'm not even much of a bettor, but I'll go out there and do a little people watching, and always get a chili dog and maybe some bourbon bread pudding. Those are the two must-haves when you go to Keeneland. Maybe a little burgoo. So there's all kinds of good reasons to go to Keeneland.
Anyway, the chili's good too, by the way.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, I guess until next time, get out there and get yourself a Godzilla Pabst Blue Ribbon and cheer on your favorite team.
PBR, baby.
We'll see you next time.